everybody. You've made it to the Parlor Party cartoon screening room on a Sunday evening with Janet Klein and Jerry Beck.
Yes, that's me. I'm here. It's the day after Halloween, and we're going to celebrate Halloween. Right?
Well, we decided to title this The Halloween Hangover. So whatever anybody did for Halloween, here's a little bit more of it. We're not done yet. In fact, I donned my my little festive dress that I have modified for the holiday with jack-o'-lanterns and bats. Woo! Woo!
Very nice. Very nice. Hopefully next year we can see you in person.
I'm ready for anything at this point. So hello everybody, thank you for joining us, and we're going to just have fun and hang out, cuddle up, get a libation, and we're going to learn more about cartoons from our expert in residence, Mr. Jerry Beck.
Okay.
And I brought a few fun things to share and curiosities, etc. And so Jerry, hello.
Yes. Woo! I'm here. We have some cartoons.
We do. So one of the first ones that we were going to show is a Scrappy. A Scrappy cartoon. And so this is Scrappy and his brother Oopie.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes. And these cartoons are all loosely or sometimes directly themed to Halloween, kind of, right?
Yes.
I mean, this Scrappy cartoon, I mean, when Halloween, you think of trick-or-treating, you think of ringing doorbells.
That's right.
You never know who's going to be on the other side of the door. It could be an old woman or a drunk, or who knows.
The mystery. That is the mystery.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I feel bad for all those little kids this year not getting to have that mysterious experience. You know,
this could be a good substitute.
Walking around in the dark in your own neighborhood, for instance, marauding in a costume and knocking on anybody's door on your street that you don't know on a regular.
I think we should show a cartoon that might warn kids from doing that.
That's exactly what this one is. Our first cartoon is indeed called Let's Ring Doorbells from 1935. And I don't think that it's particularly meant for Halloween, but it's a cautionary tale.
Yes, it is. It is.
So you want to jump right in and watch?
Well, no, these cartoons were Scrappy was. I'll give you some background. Scrappy was Columbia Pictures' answer to Mickey Mouse, as every studio in the 30s literally was required to provide cartoons because every movie theater had to show cartoons. It was like a law. It wasn't really a law. It's just that they were so popular, they became what we call a staple of movie going. Today, the only thing we have that way when we go to the movies is the coming attractions trailer. We expect to see that, and people felt that way about the cartoon. Yes, we know they saw other things like Laurel and Hardy shorts and newsreels and serials and travelogues and all sorts of things. But the cartoon was an absolute, and they'd be very upset if they couldn't see it. And keep in mind that movie theaters, especially the neighborhood theaters, would change their program maybe every other day, 3 times a week, maybe. This is the way it was in the 1930s. So if that means a theater needed 3 cartoons a week, and Hollywood had to provide cartoons. And Disney couldn't keep up with it, because he was only one studio. And so every studio had their own version of Mickey Mouse. Scrappy was sort of Columbia's version of that. Remember, we showed Crazy Cat, I think last month or the month before. And that was their other series that they had. And they also did a color series because Disney was doing Silly Symphonies. They did one called Color Rhapsodies as well. But Scrappy was kind of their Mickey Mouse character. And you can tell, you look at him, he's got kind of the the round eyes, and he's not an animal. I guess that's what made him unique.
That pie-shaped eyeballs, I think.
Yeah, the pie cut eyes, with that little pie cut in there. Now, most of the cartoons, even though they were trying to be gag oriented like Mickey Mouse, the Silly Symphonies by 1935 were adapting fairy tales. They had been so successful with Three Little Pigs in 1933, and they started doing like Tortoise and the Hare and King Neptune and this sort of thing. So fables and fantasy got combined with the Mickey Mouse-like characters, and that's what this cartoon sort of is. It starts off like a Mickey Mouse cartoon, a little kid's adventure, and before you know it, it turns into a fairy tale with a princess and everything, and so it's an interesting combination of things that it makes it a quintessential 1935 cartoon.
All right, let's do it, shall we? Here goes. Let's Ring Doorbells, 1935.
It's a wonderful day today, so nice and sunny, a day when you enjoy the feeling of being alive. But if only something would happen. It's so beautiful I could suck somebody. The flowers are so beautiful, the sky is so clear, nature is in all its glory. But if only something would happen. I know. Let's ring doorbells. Are you gonna ring doorbells? I wouldn't if I were you. That isn't a very nice thing for little boys to do.
Ringing doorbells, do you? You think it's a lot of fun. Well, you won't get out of here until you ring the right one. You won't get out of here until you ring the right one.
You poor little dears, you're almost in tears. What are you worried about?
We've been wandering around all day. We want to get out. We want to get out.
So you don't want to ring bells anymore. Step right this way. This is the door.
Well, here you are back once more. I see that you're not laughing like you were before. I told you that ringing doorbells wasn't very nice. Next time, perhaps you'll listen and take some good advice.
Yes, you're ringing a doorbell. I love
Yeah,
it.
hello. Hello.
Hello.
There.
Oh, it's a haunted house.
I'll never do it again. Maybe.
You're in your own haunted mansion over there. There we go.
Yes. That was fabulous. Thank you, Jerry.
Oh,
So
you're
I was
welcome.
going to say now that this one, Let's Ring Doorbells, was made by the same company that did the Flop House that we showed on our last episode.
Yes, it's the same company, but it's also the same character of Scrappy was in the Flop House, except the Flop House was done a few years earlier under its creator. It was its creator, a fellow named Richard Humer, was also the director of the Flop House. He had left the Columbia Pictures Studio and gone off to Disney by 1935, but they continued making these Scrappy cartoons all throughout the 1930s. You know, and so they're actually, they have their own cult following, the Scrappy cartoons, because they're so odd. You know, they're just so odd. You don't know what to expect in each one. There's one where he goes to Mars. There's one where he has a party and he invites Gandhi and Adolf Hitler to it because they were just world leaders in the early 30s. They weren't, you know, or Hitler wasn't, you know, our enemy yet, you know.
Wow.
So things like that. This is so weird when you look back at these cartoons, and
Now,
that's why we love them.
did Richard Humor, did he have his name on this one?
Not on the one we
Then-
just watched
Oh, because it
he
was later. He was already at Disney then.
right.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, if anybody watches, go out and watch Dumbo, you'll see his name. He gets a major story credit on that film. He became one of Disney's major story men, and
So he left for Disney and then stayed till the end of his career.
I believe so. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Well, there we go. I love the little method that they got you into the start of the story, where they're sort of hanging out under a tree, and it's a beautiful poetic day, and nature in all its glory, but they wish something would just happen.
Mhm.
And then that butterfly comes, or the worm turns into the butterfly and says, "That's not a very nice thing that you want to do." So
Was there any music in there that was familiar to you?
you know what? No. I know
Okay.
that this was Joe Donat was in charge of the music, and I didn't make any notes for myself, as I did on the next one though.
Okay.
The next cartoon that we were going to show. This was Toby the Pup. Halloween.
Yes.
So it's going back a few years, 1931.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one did have Dick Humor's name on it.
Yes, because he created this character too. He was working for what we would call the Charles Mintz studio. I'll give you a quick story. I'll make it as quick as I
So
can.
the connection between Mintz and
Yes.
Columbia, is that the same?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Charles Mintz's studio was a studio in the 1920s. They did mainly Crazy Cat. He made a deal for Crazy Cat at Columbia Pictures. While he had the deal at Columbia Pictures, they came up with a second series, which was Scrappy. Meanwhile, Mintz, and this is a little sketchy for me, but apparently he went to another studio, RKO, and sold another series out of his studio. He wasn't exclusive to Columbia, so he sold the Toby the Pup series, which was another Richard Humor creation. That only lasted 1 year. The thing about Toby the Pup is most people have never heard of the character for a variety of reasons, but the main one is that it only lasted a year. There's only about 13 or so of those cartoons, and then RKO, whatever the reason, they never sold them to TV. They were never distributed on home movies. They disappeared off the face of the earth. They weren't around. They haven't been around in 60, 70, 80 years. They've been rediscovered very, very slowly. Archivists have found copies of them around the world. There's no one place where all the negatives are sitting for these. They were considered lost cartoons. Most of them have been found, and they're
It's
being
just a matter of the
restored.
physical reel that travels around to the theaters, and somebody finds the reel. It's not
Well,
like
it's like the film it's like the one we're about to watch has French titles on it.
That's right.
The reason is because they only found this cartoon in France, and that's the only version. Luckily, it's only the titles that are in another language. I believe the rest of the cartoon is in its original soundtrack. In about a year or so, hopefully earlier, there'll be a DVD release or a Blu-ray release with as many of these that have been found. It's on its way from our good friend Steve Stanchfield at Thunderbeam. There's my first plug, who is graciously assisting us in providing us with these wonderful cartoons for this podcast.
Fantastic. Thank you. Wow. So I almost mistakenly called him Pooch the Pup, because that's another character.
Pooch was Walter Lantz. And he was the guy doing Oswald for Universal in the 30s. I know it sounds complicated, but it's like really they're all, I even hate to say this, they're all sort of the same. They're all trying to do Mickey Mouse. They're all trying, because Mickey was the leader, Disney was the leader. and that's what people expected. That's what they thought a cartoon looked like, was Toby the Pup, which is a cool thing. I wish cartoons always looked like Toby the Pup. When Disney announced in 1933, around that time, 33, 34, that he was going to do an animated feature, when he decided we're going to do it, people thought that his animated feature would look something like Toby the Pup. Well, not Toby the Pup, but it looked like Mickey Mouse, or maybe even the Three Little Pigs. I guess that wouldn't be too bad. They couldn't conceive in 33, the outside world, what Disney had in his mind for what Snow White was going to look like, and which was the whole artwork and the field had to be pushed to a certain level that was only really in his mind. And at the studio there, we didn't have Facebook or other ways to communicate, or leaked photos or leaked footage. Today we live in a world of everything's known right away. Back then, it was just the word was out there that Disney was going to make a feature, and that really seemed odd to people.
So tell me, what year was the first feature? And that was, what was it?
Well, it came out, it was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it premiered, I believe, around November, December. Again, I'm not looking. I know that we've got a lot of people watching, and I know they're going to put the correct date in the chat. We do this on purpose so that you can contribute and tell, I'm just doing this off the top of my head right now, but it was in late 1937 is when it premiered at the Carthay Circle Theater. Wow. Which no longer exists. But and people, it was a big world premiere, and a lot of people came thinking, well, Mr. Disney's a genius, Mickey Mouse, Silly Symphonies, won Oscars. We'll come and see what he's doing here. And they came away, including especially the critics, writing, "Oh my God, you have to see this movie. It was a mega blockbuster." And if Gone with the Wind hadn't come out the following in 1939, Snow White would probably have even a greater reputation. It was the biggest movie of all time until Gone with the Wind came out 2 years later.
Wow. It's sort of a Gone with the Wind in cartoon. And when you think about how painterly all the designs are, it's
oh yeah.
And especially let's show our next cartoon, Toby the Pup, before we get too far away from that subject. But when you look at Toby the Pup,
yes,
it's so this is 1931, and it's a very much a really zesty drawing style, but it's very minimal when you think about this just a few years down the line, what Disney's going to do with
exactly exactly,
White, of course. So this is very pared down. It almost reminds me of like the it was Charles Held.
I want to say Charles is, oh darn,
Held Jr.
Edit this out.
I want to say Al Held Jr.
John Held.
Maybe that's it. Sorry about that. But he was a very popular just illustrator of the 20s.
Everybody has to understand out there, because you're all putting in the correct information on the side. This is Sunday. We had a Halloween party last night. We're all tired. We're on late in the day on Sunday because we just woke up. I'm just trying to explain why we can't remember names.
It just comes in waves. So everybody, here goes. Let's look at another one. This is from 1931, Toby the Pup.
Yes.
A rarity. Come back to be enjoyed. So here goes.
see. I'll play the piano for you.
good one.
So now that we couldn't really have really good Halloween parties this year with all your friends and get to dance and bob for apples and act a certain Halloween way. Nope. But anyway, that was very satisfying.
Yeah, well, that was very sad. That's perfect 1930s musical cartoon, bouncy, fun. You said zesty. That's a new word I'm going to use from now on.
Adorable party doings.
Adorable party doings.
You don't even need a lot of ghosts or anything. It's just adorable party doings. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up on this last one was that there is a song featured in it called Smarty. And that was a really old song by 31. That was a song that was published in 1908. And in fact, it was a song that was featured by Billy Murray and Ada Jones. And so consequently, in many of the cartoons around this time, Billy Murray was hired to do voiceovers on some of these cartoons, especially the bouncing ball sing-alongs. And so the interesting thing is that in a lot of the bouncing ball sing-alongs especially, they tend to do really old songs, like from the ragtime era. And so this is 1908, that song Smarty. And it was something that Billy Murray recorded with Ada Jones as a little silly duet song. But I looked up, found the sheet music and found some old recordings, and I'm going to share the sheet music with you when I bring up some images. So, you know what? I'd like to sing a song right now.
Are we talking about the next cartoon now?
Yes, but before we do that, I just feel like singing because we haven't gotten into the spooky mood yet. And so I thought that I would do something that's similar in this way, in that this song is called The Ghost of the St. Louis Blues. And it's riffing on an older W.C. Handy song called the St. Louis Blues that was written in 1914. So The Ghost of the St. Louis Blues was recorded in 1929. And Billy Curtis and Russell Robinson were the writers. I found a recording with Cab Calloway doing it in 1930. I found another recording of Bill Sykes and his Skyrockets, also 1930. So can I just run and do this atmospheric song for you?
Please do. Put us in the Halloween mood.
We need a little bit of something. Woo! Okay, here goes.
Hey, go in that other room and do it.
There's a creepy melody like a fiend that keeps haunting me all night long. It rambles on through my brain till I'm near insane. It's the most peculiar tune, like some ghost singing to the moon. I can't seem to leave behind its haunting refrain. It's the ghost of the St. Louis Blues, and it follows me around like a thief in the dark. Hark, hear it now, it's the ghost of the St. Louis Blues. And that haunting strain is just like a piece of bad news. When midnight shadows fall, I hear that ghostly music call. It seems the end of sleep to hear the thousand saxophones sob and moan to that tune of the St. Louis Blues. everywhere, the ghost of the St. Louis blues. Oh, I hate to see that evening sun go down. I hate to see that evening sun go down. For that man I love, he's gone and left this town. That's the tune that I never can lose. For it's everywhere, the ghost of the St. Louis blues. For it's everywhere, the ghost of the St. Louis blues.
See, that was great. That was great. Everybody's applauding out there. They're all putting the icon for the hand clap. I know it. They're doing it right now. Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, thank you. I just needed to get that off my chest.
Oh, good. Well, we want you to do that whenever you wish. We're all encouraging you to do that. Please.
I've got more, but I'm gonna
good.
let's look at some fun imagery right now.
Oh, imagery.
Shall
Okay.
we?
Let's look at imagery. There we go. I see some imagery.
Here we are. There's Dick Humor, who we
There's
talked
his
about.
name, and his
Joe
animators, Sid Marcus and Art Davis. They're the people who took over. They're the names that were on the beginning of Let's Ring Doorbells. They're the ones who kind of took over the Scrappy cartoons when Dick left. And Joe Donat. This is the original titles.
Mhm.
Charles Mintz presents, Columbia Pictures. Most of these cartoons that survive and that are around don't have the original titles on them because, well, they sold them to TV in the 50s and they lopped the titles off them and put other titles on, or they sold them to home movies, 16 millimeter, and that were sold in department stores. And you might ask, well, why did they cut the titles off? Well, that's because it's a long story, but it has to do with movie theaters and movie studios versus television. And the movie theaters and the movie studios didn't want back in the 50s, their names on any films, including cartoons that were shown on TV, because that would look like they were giving in to the enemy being television.
Wow.
The movie theater people hated the TV. It was keeping people home. People weren't going to the movies. The movie, attendance dipped in the 1950s because people were staying home and watching I Love Lucy and the Honeymooners and everything else. And so there was a real war at that time. And that's one reason why movies went mostly to color and widescreen and even 3D during the 1950s, because it was all in an effort to get people to go to the movies and not stay home. And thus, many of our wonderful favorite cartoons don't have their original titles on them anymore. And that's the way. So a lot of people like me try to restore those titles, and so that history can be preserved.
Yes, exactly, because it gets confusing when you look at these things that
Right.
are cut on either end, and Anyway, so wow. Okay, so this is really really great stuff. Hold on, here we go. Here's another beautiful thing. What I
Oh,
was thinking about is that even today things are just transitioning before our eyes, right? It's the
absolutely.
same-
We're going through a period.
constant push and pull.
We're going through a period right now with the media, with movies. I mean, movie theaters are closed. This new streaming services are now on. That's a new thing. They haven't figured it out yet because it all happens so quickly. But it's a transition period. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It may not be this way we all remember things. It may or may not. It may or may not. We don't know yet. I'm optimistic to think that movie theater going will be back as it ever was, but
That same push and pull of things being very easy to get it at home versus getting groups of people together to see these on a big screen in a theater in groups.
Well, I'm optimistic that it will be more event driven for movies. That's, a lot of the smaller kind of dramas that, that those might go directly to TV, in the future. I don't, well, this isn't the place to have that discussion, but I understand it now. I understand how it all comes down to economics, of
Mm.
course.
You know,
But
here's
here
one.
comes
I
Scrappy.
wanted to look at this. It's a great graphic, and this thing up here at the top with Scrappy pulling this little lady's hair. As a little couple, they look very close to Toby the Pup and his girlfriend.
Well, that's because these exact images were drawn by Dick Humor. We're having a special Richard Humor show today. But the
Wow.
thing is, these are his images from the very first year that they're introducing the character. He's the newest sensation. That the white bar in the middle is because this was a double page spread in a movie, exhibitors magazine. So they're telling the theater owners about these new Scrappy cartoons that are coming. That's Margie is his little girlfriend. That's Yippee, that's his little dog on the right. And as it says there, from Charles Mintz, the creator of Crazy Cat. Well, the actual Crazy Cat creator, of course, was George Harriman, the comic strip artist. But Mintz was the animation. Well, I don't even want to call him the animation creator, but yeah, he was the producer. Let's put it that way. And yeah, so this is an ad from the very beginning of that series.
Here's another. This is
that's the poster, the original one. You can imagine going to a movie theater and this greets you as you walk in through the lobby. It says, "Howdy, folks, I'm here today." And at the bottom, at the bottom, it would have the title of the cartoon.
Oh, I see that. Oh.
Yeah, they'd also make individual posters for each cartoon back in the 30s, which are rare and collectible, and you can find images of some of them online. But and they're really beautiful. That's the stuff that kills me. That the advertising on these cartoons in the 30s, every studio it's like science fiction, because we don't know of a time when they made one sheet posters for every specific individual cartoon. Pretty amazing.
Here's another. This is
one of the Toby cards that isn't the film we saw, but it's a different one that has the words in English, and it shows you what the original title card looked like. Radio Pictures.
Same year. This is 1931. Same as our Halloween show, and this I'm very intrigued by.
Well, this is the some of the main hands on it. Richard Humor, Dick Humor is the guy on the right in the foreground, and right behind him is Sid Marcus, one of the main animators, and at the on the left side of your screen is animator Jack Carr, Carr, and they're obviously holding up a poster of Toby, perhaps for publicity purposes, perhaps to announce that here's our new character. I don't know, but you see how you know how he looks like Bimbo a little bit, doesn't he, from the Fleischers?
Yeah.
These kind of photos behind the scenes are pretty rare, as somebody who's a historian and looks for this kind of material.
Interesting. He's got like these gloves, like the Mickey Mouse gloves with a little roll around here, and then it looks like socks he's got on. Not really shoes.
That's true. His feet, his hands, and his head are gigantic, and his body and his torso, his arms, legs, those things are much smaller. I'm trying. What is he holding in his hand up there? Oh, it's a hat. That's his little. He's taking a hat off. He's holding it by the rim.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, gee, what a business. That was great. All right. Now, I was going to tell you about that Toby the Pup featured this song from 1908. And Jack Norworth, who wrote the words, he was also a performer with his partner was Nora Bayes, and they were very very popular in those days. I wanted to show you too that I found this piece of sheet music featuring Sarah Louise Cogswell, but also here's another one is telling you that the song was featured by no other than Henry Fink, because
who is Henry Fink?
Who knows? I don't know.
Oh.
Somebody can Google and find out more. Maybe he made a record or two, but this was.
He looks like a nice young man.
Yes. So anyway, I just wanted to say it was fun to identify the song that was used in the Toby the Pup. Now, we haven't seen Betty
Yes.
Boop yet today, but our next cartoon, we're gonna get to go to Betty's Halloween party.
Ooh, that's it. It's very much like the Halloween parties that we have, where we invite all of our unusual, diverse friends.
That's
And,
right. Somebody
and
plays the piano, maybe
yeah,
Bob for apples.
and usually one of our friends turns into a gorilla and kind of ruins it all. But Betty will come through. Now this is Max Fleischer on the right, and Mae Questel, her voice, on the left. And that's a wonderful standee that they have. I have to tell you, Heritage Auctions recently found the original art for this standee, which kills me. I mean, I don't know if they're going to auction it off, but
When you say the art, meaning the
that's the
like a piece of,
pencil,
oh wow, so
actual
the camera
pencil
ready
art.
art.
Yeah, no, not the camera. That hasn't been found yet. By
Oh,
the way, I haven't. It's interesting. It's the books on there, Betty and Bimbo, and it says Paramount Publix. That's the one of the companies of Paramount Pictures. Fleischer Studios Inc. And I guess another book is the history of the movies or something. But says it all right there.
oh, that's great. And of course, Mae Questel,
Hmm.
given some attitude.
I know. I'm a big fan of hers. I got to meet her once. I once sat with her at an event, and
Oh,
her husband was at her side, and he wouldn't let
your
anybody
husband
talk to
too, I
her.
wonder.
He wouldn't let anybody talk to her socially at this event. But I lucked out and was able to get a seat next to her, and because of that, we could strike up a conversation because her husband was on the other side and he was looking at me mean. He was like don't talk to her. Don't her
Oh,
voice is
like
her
a
career.
wrangler.
A wrangler, yeah. But she was great. She's just as wonderful. If you ever see her in
Oh,
movies, like in Funny Girl, she's one of Fanny Bryce's mom's friends at the beginning of the film, and she's in a lot of stuff. She was Woody Allen's mom in the movie called New York Stories that had a sequence where she plays a giant. Anyway, if you don't know the movie, it sounds too weird. It sounds like a dream. But she plays like a giant version of Woody's mom in it. It's very strange. If you've seen the movie,
wow.
you'll know what I mean.
Wait, what's the name of that movie again?
It's called New York Stories.
Oh, I guess I don't know
She's
that.
she's in it, and no, and she did so many other voices beyond Betty Boop. She did Little Audrey, and she did a lot of commercial work, and of course, her other big voice, I'm sure John Reynolds knows, was Olive Oil, doing the Zazu Pitts.
That was Mae Questel.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, there she is. No, she was
That was for
extremely
another
talented.
studio then, a different studio. That
No,
was
no, no, no. Popeye was Paramount. It was Fleischer. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Paramount and Fleischer, did Paramount
Just
or-
let me also remind you on the cartoon we're about to show.
Mhm.
I do not think you'll see a Paramount logo on there because it'll say the UMNM TV Corp. That's the TV company that lopped off the original titles, put on theirs, and they sold it to television. That's an example of that. If you ever see the old Betty Boops with your look at this. Say King Features publicity art, but it says Paramount Pictures. This must have been a real photo that was distributed back in the 30s, I think. Probably for that, there was an actual cartoon, Bamboo Isle, and it says a Paramount Star, created by Fleischer Studios, right there on the
see.
little billboard there.
It's great. Woo. Oh, well, I was
Yes.
gonna say, okay, in Betty Boop's Halloween party.
Yes.
Yes, I had a little bit of detective work
This
because
is the cue sheet. This is
yes.
yes.
Isn't that neat? So what happened was I was looking over the thing of the cartoon,
Mhm.
and it opens with this song that I knew that I'd heard somewhere before, and I just could not identify it, and it was driving me wild. And so I brought it up in conversation with a lady friend who's very knowledgeable and worked at the Paramount Music Library, restoring and cataloging all their archives. And she just happened to have the cue sheet. So
Wow.
the first song that comes up is called, it's not easy to read in this faded typewriter thing here, but it was called Buckin' the Wind.
Right.
Buckin' the Wind, written by Sam Coslow. And and anyway, so it was great just to be able to solve that mystery. Also, in there, she sings "Let's All Sing Like the Birdies Sing," which was written by Stanley Damerel and Tolchard Evans. And Stanley Damerel was our dear friend Ian Whitcomb's uncle.
Oh yes,
For writing that.
I barely know that. I remember that Ian had sung this song at one of your shows. I
Yes,
remember
and
that.
there it is, used by the Fleischers, and of course at Disneyland, it's still being played in the Enchanted Tiki Room. And
Oh, I miss
now,
Ian.
now, mind you, when I first started to look it up, I looked up some reference online, and I found this Betty Boop's Halloween Party, and it says she sings this song "Here We Are," which she does not sing in this
Oh,
particular
that's
one,
interesting.
and it does not
Well,
appear on the
you have the cue sheet. We have the cartoon,
not,
so we
it's
know
not on the
absolutely.
cue sheet. So maybe there was an alternate plan. I don't know.
There is a song, there is a cartoon where she sings that. I can hear it in my mind's eye here, or in my head. Here we are, you and I.
It's a
You
very
know.
romantic song.
Yeah.
It's one of the best romantic. And there is the sheet music for "Bucking the Wind."
Oh, so it was
Came from a
used in
Paramount
this
picture.
Paramount. Well, that's the whole thing about the cartoons, especially at MGM and Warner Brothers, where the parent studio of the animation departments would insisted sometimes that they incorporate songs in the cartoons that were used in the musicals, and because they own the rights to it. As
Product
in this,
placement.
right, Famous Music was Paramount's company, and so they wanted to plug these tunes as often as they could.
Oh, and you know what I noticed on the sheet music on the lower left,
Yeah.
another one of the songs that they mention is a song called "Boo Boo Boo,"
Mhm.
and that one was also used in the in a Betty Boop's Halloween Party.
I like that this was in Dunn's Music Shop in Houston, Texas. They had to stamp their name on Bing Crosby's fingers at all times.
Yes. That's great. I mean, that's the joy of all this. It's just like it's just a treasure trove of evidence. Let's see. Now
Look at
here,
that. Oh, wait, go back. Can you go back? Or no?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
it says based on an original dance idea by Leroy Prinz. I love that. It's like that's what the song is based on a dance idea.
I was
Anyway.
wondering, what is the meaning of "Bucking the Wind"? In those days, a certain type of tap dancing was called
Right.
bucking wing.
Right.
So bucking wing, maybe bucking wind. It's just
That's probably the case.
But anyway, you'll hear it soon, and it's very it's just it's a very prominent windy melody. You'll see it in the cartoon and see and hear it very shortly. So, and here is the last cartoon that we're going to show today is this one.
Oh yes, Midnight Frolics, another Columbia cartoon by Charles Mintz.
In full color.
This is from his Color Rhapsodies series, which was well, should I talk about it now or should we talk about it later? I mean,
let's just keep it brief now, and then we'll
right.
come back after.
I'll have something else to say about it, but it's one of his Color Rhapsody cartoons, which is his version of the Silly Symphony cartoons, meaning they're in color and they don't have a lead star character. And obviously this is a very Halloween, haunted house cartoon. It's perfect for today.
Let's see. Oh, I wanted to show these. Why?
Why?
So unrelated. Because in the cartoon, they mention that these ghosts are the ghosts of the Floridora girls, or the boys who played with the Floridora girls. So just so that you know what that is, that your grandma at the time watching that cartoon, 1938, could have told you about the Floridora girls.
Right.
Which was a show that started in England in 1900. Oops. And
oops.
And so anyway, in by the 30s, these things were extremely old-fashioned. And like, for instance, they were very coy And the hit song was something like "Tell Me, Pretty Maiden." So
Mhm.
sometimes, they have references to these old stodgy stories or old, like your grandma, your great grandmother would have been into that show. And now they're just haunting some old house.
Very good. Excellent. I love it when you have additional research that I had no access to. That's great.
It's so fun that they, continue to utilize old references and so that
Mhm.
all the generations could, you know, enjoy it and maybe get different things out of the thing. So, for instance, now I wanted to share something I didn't warn you about, but I did go into the show saying that it's Halloween time, and I was in a wonderful cartoon series called Over the Garden Wall,
Oh, yes.
and my character was Miss Langtree, and I would like to sing my Langtree's Lament for you right after I finish this slide presentation. And so
Mhm.
I thought I would, whether you've seen it or not, it was a very charming thing. It was set at this time of year. And I'm going to share a few little things that were sent to me by the animator when they were just getting ready to try to do a pilot. And so they hadn't come up with the proper title, which was Over the Garden Wall. At that time, the pilot was going to be called Tome of the Unknown. And so you have Wirt and Gregory, the two characters, sort of in cutouts here, and
Hmm.
this was part of the original pitch for the pilot. And when they sent these things to me, I mean, the artwork was so charming and timeless, and folks who know the final thing, you'll know that this is kind of a, I don't know, an Arthur Rackham kind of old fuzzy storytelling kind of style that it doesn't tell you what you see in the final cartoon, but uh, these were just part of the original
Pitch.
pitch.
It looks like
Uh,
slides, it looks like old lantern slides.
yes, exactly. That's right. So, and the character that was in that original one, did you see it, Jerry? Did you see
I've
Tome of the
seen
Unknown?
I saw the final film. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
the show. I
Well,
haven't seen
there was
this.
a pilot, and in the pilot was this character John Crops, who played
Mhm.
the banjo, and this fellow, this musician Stone King, did the voice for it. It's really wonderful, and I love that they say in the pitch that they were thinking about somebody like Will Rogers,
Hmm.
um, and but actually, I sort of discovered on my own that this character who plays the banjo, he actually sings a song, "Nobody Loves You, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out." And it was actually something that was recorded by this fellow named Scrapper Blackwell. And
Hmm.
his voice sounds very close to what they used for Mr. John Crops. And wonderful. I would look it up because it's just incredible,
Hmm.
incredible guitar playing and
Who
so
was the
soulful.
who was the creator of the show? Tell us about the people who. Oh, here we
So,
go.
for instance, this was a party that they had, I think, on an anniversary of the first showing. And the fellow in the skeleton shirt is Patrick McHale,
Hmm.
and it was all his concept and drawings and everything. He worked on Adventure Time, I believe, with Penn Ward, but this was something that he pitched to Cartoon Network, and it was a 10-part mini series. And the rest of these fellows here are the fellows in the Blasting Company, and they wrote all the music for it and performed it in the final thing. And then this is the fellow. Oh, I forget what that's, Ben or Wade, but one of the fellows that owns Nucleus in Alhambra, which is a wonderful art gallery specializing in such things. And so, anyway, we had a party and a great turnout. And look at somebody illustrated that concert.
Wow.
And all of the Blasting Company were frogs, and I got to be myself, which was nice. Or a version of myself,
Baby.
sort of Miss Langtree and me. And then look at I just was buzzing around and I saw this beautiful illustration that somebody did. Her name is Victoria Evans of Miss Langtree. That was my character. And this is her boyfriend, the no good Jimmy Brown. And her students were animals and
I
birds.
think it's time for a whole series based around Miss Langtree. That's what I
Oh,
think.
I'm ready. So I'm going to disappear right now and I'm going to come back as Miss Langtree and I'm going to do the lovely song that she did in the cartoon called Langtree's Lament. And it was all about this no good Jimmy Brown. She's a nice school teacher lady, but she was very depressed because Jimmy left her to go ride the rails. And so she sings a very distracted educational song. So here goes. I'm going to segue.
All right. I have a question, but I'm going to wait till you come
Oh.
back. Oh, no, you want to, just no, did you ever record this? Is it recorded in any way that anybody can get a recording of you singing it other than you're about to do it now, I guess, but
Yes.
but
Solo.
it's not on a record or a CD, right? It's not on a CD.
No, I think that they may have released the soundtrack
Really?
somehow separately from the cartoons. They did a few nifty
Oh.
little things.
Somebody on the chat should tell us if that's
Yeah.
the case, because I want a recording of you singing it, because I've heard you sing it several times when we were doing live shows back in the day, and I really love this song. It's a great song, and I think it needs to be something one can possess.
Well, besides the fact that they had to cut out a lot of it
Right.
in the final edits, but it does exist on YouTube. You can hear the whole song too. They had all of the songs kind of posted by Cartoon Network. So okay, I'm gonna go run and do it, and then we'll come back and whoopee! A is for the apple that he gave to me, but I found a worm inside. B is for beloved that I called to him before he left my side. And C what he did, that's D. Did it to poor old me. Oh, how could I be such an emotional fool? F. G is for the gentleman I thought he was when he first said hi. H-I. J is for the joker that is Jimmy B. The man who made me cry. That's a C. And K. You know it's just not okay to kiss and then run away, leaving alone without leaving a letter for Langtree. M is for the misery he left me in, never to return again. Oh, what a poor fool I've been, queuing in line for him. And are you the one for me? Yes, say you'll come back to me. Oh, why are you tempted to tease me? Why not you have got to understand the value of a woman's heart. V, W, not why did you think it was fine to X me from the start? And why, yes, why is the question that's on my mind. Oh, why did you leave me right before reaching our zenith? Oh. 1 is the number of men I've loved, and 2 is for the times I'll say it's you. 3 is the number of days you've been gone, but it seems like 4 times 2. 8, at the hour the sun goes down, I remember life with you around. I wish I had 9 lives like that one. Oh.
Yay. That was great.
I was only
love
Klein
that
treat
song.
temporarily. Hey everybody, Thank you for being with us for this cartoon screening room Halloween Hangover. So we're going to show Betty Boop's Halloween Party right now from 1933. And we'll come back and we'll say something later. All right?
Okay.
Here's
All right.
our party time. Here goes.
Hello, Scary. Come on in. And when you get warm, you can help me prepare for the party.
face. You. Boop, boop, ba-doop.
Hey, oh, this is
Oh,
great.
that's such a good party.
Yeah. I'm
Hey,
just checking.
what you
I'm
read?
double checking the research on this.
Wait, show us what's that book. That looks good.
That was of Mice and Magic, a book I worked on, but it's by Leonard Maltin, and it's a history of American animated cartoons, and it's got a list of every cartoon in it. And I just needed to quickly look and make sure that Betty Boop's Halloween Party was 1933,
Indeed.
because it feels a little bit like a postcode. You know, Betty.
Yeah,
Betty
you see
would
your
post-
underwear a little bit.
I know. I could. Well, it is.
Yeah,
I guess it's.
it's very cool.
It's pre-code. It's pre-code. It's just.
So cute.
Just the you know, Betty became a star because she was risque, and you know, they can do, you know, things with her that they couldn't do later on. They had to lengthen her dress and give her a dog, Pudgy and Grampy, and all these other things that, you know, that complicated her life. But early on, she was carefree and could be with these animals.
They're just
and
like a
bimbo.
showgirl.
That's right. So
Well, the Betty Boop Halloween Party. Now, remember, I mentioned that song "Buck in the Wind." That was the theme.
right.
Da, 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 Buck in the wind. Da, 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 da. It's such a great show song, right?
Right.
It really was.
Right.
And
Mhm.
then let's all sing like the birdies sing.
Mhm.
Love that. Oh my god.
Well, they made I think I showed this at your shows, but they made one of the screen songs with that song in it. And I'm trying to remember, it was like Dunn and Reese, or so. There was like some like duo who were the live action people in it, who I think that's anyway, it's a weird one they made. They love that song over there at Paramount for some reason.
It's one of those songs that it seems like it must have always existed.
Yes.
The minute you hear it, you knew that.
Yeah. You know,
Oh.
I sometimes I think is it just me or everybody who grew up with those Fleischer cartoons when they ran them on TV way back when I was a little kid. They used to run them all the time, and so they're like embedded in our brains. And you know, I'm so delighted. That's the kind of thing you want to have embedded in your brain.
Exactly. I don't think I got this stuff. I think I grew up more on
Well,
Warner,
you're younger than me. You're
Warner
you're a
Brothers
youngster.
cartoons, but I'm glad to catch up now.
Mm-hmm.
And then besides the fact, you know, like the Felix the Cat, things like that they did in the silence, you know.
That's right. Yeah, they did. They
Still
would do
catch up
these.
on that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, they're doing it now. I mean, it's not to get off topic, but back when I was younger, they were rebooting. They didn't call it that. They were rebooting Felix the Cat for TV animation, and Coco the Clown. Fleischer was redone as a series. They did it for almost all the big characters were sort of rebooted. So we grew up with both the originals and the later ones. Popeye's one of the rare ones that actually made it from the golden age and kept, like Superman, from the golden age all the way to the silver age. in new cartoons.
Right from the newspaper.
That too.
Yeah.
But today they're doing that now with characters like Looney Tunes and Mickey Mouse, and they're just bringing back a lot of stuff, which is fine with me. I'm actually a proponent of that. Every time somebody on the internet, whenever they announce they're bringing back a new Tom and Jerry cartoon or something like that, there's a lot of people like, can't they think of anything new? I'm like, what's wrong with if they do it well? There's nothing wrong with it,
Keep the good stuff rolling, right? Yay!
All about doing it well, as you do.
Oh, quality. We strive for that. So, speaking of such things, I wanted to. There's so many fun things to show. I really wanted to show Minnie the Moocher and then talk about Cab Calloway and Blanche Calloway. But
we will do that on a future show.
We will. So I thought maybe I would. I started the theme song today was something by a lady composer named Bernice Petcare. I play this song with a band called Close Your Eyes, which I thought was very atmospheric. And so I'm going to do another one of Bernice Petcare's compositions called Lullaby of the Leaves. I thought it had a sort of a fall-like thing. I wanted to do that for you right now.
Oh, great.
Okay, and I got one more surprise that I'm going to attach onto it called Dancing the Devil Away from 1930. It came from a movie called The Cuckoos with Wheeler and Woolsey.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got the leaves and we've got the devil, and we're just going to do one more musical blast.
We have another cartoon to show too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do this one quick.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and show the full color Midnight Frolics.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so here goes. Cradle me where southern skies can watch me with a million eyes. Sing me to sleep, lullaby of the leaves. Cover me with heaven's blue, let me dream a dream or two. Sing me to sleep, lullaby of the leaves. I'm breezing along with the breeze. I'm hearing a song through the trees. That fine melody caressing the shore, familiar to me, I've heard it before. That Southland, don't I feel it in my soul? And don't I know I've reached my goal? Sing me to sleep, lullaby of the leaves. Sing me to sleep, lullaby of the leaves. We're filled with a fear of queer spirits down here. We're told better look out, the old devil's about. When you are down with the blues, it means that the devil's got into your shoes. You'll find them easy to lose, dancing the devil away. Just grin and don't let him in whenever he tries to get under your skin. Pick up your feet and begin dancing the devil away. The evil spirit is nothing but a voodoo. Just stamp your feet on the ground and shake your hoodoo. Now that you know how it's done, keep out of the shadows and stay in the sun. Come on, there's work to be done, dancing the devil away. The evil spirit is nothing but a voodoo. Just stamp your feet on the ground and shake your hoodoo. Now that you know how it's done, keep out of the shadows and stay in the sun. Come on, join into the fun, dancing the devil away. And we've you got it. We've
Yes.
danced the devil away.
I was just doing that. I was dancing the devil.
Do it.
I'm doing the Batusi. I mean, I can't. Yeah, I'm sitting in front of Zoom all day. So
You have to get up and shake your hoodoo.
Exactly.
Jerry,
Yes.
would you like to announce the next cartoon? Let's just go right to it. One more cartoon of the evening.
The final cartoon is in color. It's another one for the wonderful Columbia Charles Mintz studio. I don't know why we're doing a tribute to him today, but we are.
That happened. Yeah.
It's Halloweeny themey, kind of. It's about with ghosts. The most interesting thing about it, and I don't think there are actual name credits at the beginning, and I could be wrong, is that this is one of the ones directed by Ub Iwerks. Ub Iwerks is famously Walt Disney's best friend from Kansas City. He designed Mickey Mouse, animated the earliest cartoons, even drew the comic strip at the very beginning. And then when MGM, the biggest studio in Hollywood, wanted to buy Mickey Mouse and put Walt Disney under contract, and Walt said, no, I'm going to be an independent producer. I'm going to be my own person. They couldn't get that, but MGM, they had Tiffany's studio. They had the biggest stars in Hollywood. They said, I know what we'll do. We'll hire his right hand, the guy who's actually drawing the stuff. We'll get him over here. And they lured Ub Iwerks away from Disney in 1930. They set up a studio, of which Ub Iwerks did Flip the Frog and Willy Whopper and other cartoons. We'll probably show some more of those in the future. And those cartoons didn't work out for MGM. They weren't Mickey Mouse. They weren't exciting. Meanwhile, Ub Iwerks kept his little studio going through 1940. And one of the things he did during the 1930s, especially the latter half of the 1930s, was he made color cartoons for Charles Mintz to release through Columbia Pictures. This is one of them, and it's very entertaining.
Whee! Here goes.
Floridora Girls.
Frolics, 1938. Yeah, listen out for the Floridora. Ghosts of the Floridora.
For goodness sakes!
It's 12 o'clock. Time for all ghosts to come out. Of course, there aren't any. You can't fool me. It's all in your imagination. Woo!
What's going on here?
the shades of the blades who would serenade the Florodora girls, the Florodora girls. We are the spooks of that sextet, the pretty maiden's kiss. But we're the kind of boys that girls forget, we never have been missed. Now all we do is boo, boo, boo the bad little boys and girls, the ghosts of the gang who danced and sang with the Florodora girls.
Guess there's nobody to whom, hope.
Well?
I guess you wouldn't be interested in letting me haunt a house, would you? I'll show you how I do it. I ain't very good, though. Didn't think you'd like it. Here's another one. It ain't very good either.
Take one.
Shucks. Guess what I got?
A cow?
What color?
Red.
Uh-huh. Want to buy a cannon?
Well, here it is, 6 o'clock. Time for all ghosts to be in bed. But I don't believe in ghosts. They can't scare me. They're a lot of baloney. Ghosts. Woo!
Nothing like a 1938 color cartoon to make us feel amazing.
Wow, that was tremendous. I
Now-
have to ask you real quick.
Okay, I've got a question for you. So go ahead.
Was that the voice of Mel Blanc? Because
Yes,
I know
it
him from
was.
Warner Brothers. That doesn't. It's
No,
making
because
my head hurt.
well, Mel was a struggling voice actor in the 1930s, and he lucked out into getting his foot in the door at Warner Brothers. And there was
This is
nothing
prior to that.
What's that?
So this is Columbia.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There was nothing to stop him from doing voices for every studio, and he did. He did voices at MGM cartoons in the 30s. He did voices for Columbia. He did voices for Walter Lantz at Universal.
Oh.
He even did famously, he did a very famous voice for Disney, but it never got into the final film. So in the reality of the world, he's not in any Disney movies, but he did record for Pinocchio, the two, Hi Diddly Dee, An Actor's Life for Me. There were the two characters, the fox and the cat, that take Pinocchio away from going to school, and the cat is mute. He's a mute character, and the fox is one that does a lot of talking about come away with us. But originally the cat character spoke, and it was Mel Blanc. And the only thing in the movie where the character emotes a sound is a hiccup, and that hiccup is Mel Blanc. But the thing is, in 1941, Mel Blanc was signed to an exclusive contract for like 15 years, where he couldn't do a cartoon voice for any other studio. He was the original voice of Woody Woodpecker. He was a lot of voices up until 41, and then he had to stop doing all the other ones. He was Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Foghorn Leghorn, Pepe Le Pew, Tweety Bird, all in all. He was every character at Warner Brothers. Of course, that didn't stop him from being on radio. He had his own Mel Blanc show. He was a regular on Jack Benny and several other shows. So he had quite a great career, however you slice it. And of course, when his contract was over, he got to be Barney Rubble on the Flintstones. And into the 60s, he's a lot of TV cartoon characters as well.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
So yes, that was Mel Blanc in that Color Rhapsody cartoon.
Wow. Okay.
And my question to you was, the cartoon was called Midnight Frolics?
Yes. 1938. Now, what was the Midnight Frolics? That was a thing, and people would have known what that was. Exactly. In the 30s, I know it because of Eddie. No, not Ernie Kovacs.
Was it Ziegfeld?
It was after the Ziegfeld shows at the New Amsterdam Theater.
Right.
I know that there's some footage upstairs on the roof at the New Amsterdam Theater. They would have something called the Midnight Frolics. And so the entertainers that were in the big live theater show would go upstairs to the roof and continue to perform after the show. And so Eddie Cantor, that's what I was trying to think of. Eddie Cantor, there's some footage of him at the Midnight Frolics on the rooftop, Amsterdam Theater.
Were they up at the rooftop because of air conditioning?
I would imagine.
Yeah, meaning there was no air conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that they even closed down the theaters when it got really hot because nobody wanted to be in those spaces. But no, there's just the New York nightlife, right? There's entertainment till dawn in those days.
I know. Wow. I missed that part of it, but but when I was a mere lad, when I was a teenager in my 20s and all that, 42nd Street was it was horrible, but it was sort of fun, and I took advantage. I mean, they had movies 24 hours. They had, as you recall, you've seen pictures, it has like 10 movie theaters on one side of the street and 10 on the other side of the street, and they're all running. Back in the day when I was there, it was all what they call the grindhouse movies, meaning horror films, and or if it was a big hit film of some sort, it would be running with Night of the Living Dead with some real movie. But
your mother left you wander the streets.
Well, when I was a teenager, I could just do whatever the hell I wanted. It's very scary, I will say.
Wow. Well, just like it, I guess it wasn't like that in the movie 42nd Street.
No, but they allude to 42nd Street being a really adult area, where all kinds of shady people would be, and all of that was sort of true. It seemed like it got shadier and worse. I'm fascinated. I have not read any books about that aspect of Times Square, but from what I understand, it got worse, or got that way or worse post-war. I think post-World War II. I think it really kind of went downhill. It was a kind of what I call it an arcade area. It was sailors and just like an on the town, sailors and military men, on leave would come to New York, and the red light district, and 42nd Street was like that. I still remember I'm digressing, but I still remember when I first started to go to the San Diego Comic Book Convention back in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, the Gas Lamp District, which is beautiful now and a wonderful place to go. I hope you've been there.
I remember it too.
But remember, it was actually
Tattoo parlors.
It used to be like 42nd Street in New York. I still remember they had movie theaters all over and tattoo parlors and arcades and
I remember going to a cafe down there.
Yeah,
before everything got fixed up, and you had to pay for your lunch before you eat it.
That makes sense. I understand that.
Well, how about it? I know there's so much more to all of that. So, but we're gonna get together afterwards.
Yes, we're gonna have a midnight frolic on the roof.
We are. Okay, hush, hush, and watch on the side of this chat, and we're going to give you a Zoom link for a little reception post program, just for a little last whoopee. All right, thank you, everybody. It's been so fun.
Yes, thanks, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Yay!
Yay.
Halloween hangover. Bye. Come back for more. Yippee!
Dancing may do this and that, makes you take off lots of fat, but I'm no friend of dancing when it's hot. So if you are a dancing fool who likes to dance but can't keep cool, bear in mind this idea that I have. When it gets too hot for comfort and you can't get ice cream cones, it ain't no sin to take off your skin and dance around in your bones. When you're on a crowded dance floor near those red-hot saxophones, take no sin to take off your skin and dance around in your bones. Take a look at the girls when they're dancing, notice the way they're dressed. Wear silk hose without any clothes and nobody knows the rest. If a girl wears X-ray dresses, shows everything she owns, take no sin to take off your skin and dance around in your bones. Let's go now! Bears on green up in Greenland, they've got the right idea. They think straight to refrigerate while we all crummy down here. So be like those banjo babies in the South Sea tropic zone, cause it ain't no sin to take off your seat and dance around in your bones.